is your boy Trey of the Bat Channel, and we are live getting ready for our first full-on Monarch weekly discussion stream. And I'm so excited with you guys because Godzilla, as much as I am a Batman fan, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Godzilla is definitely the thing as a kid. I literally found something the other day while I was cleaning up my room, putting away some boxes since Sarah and I have moved. And Corey, my super bro co-host Corey, do you recognize this man? This is so ridiculous.
Man. That's what you made at Practically Picasso, right? That was like a
it was some, I don't know, some summer camp when I was a kid. And I found it and I was like, holy hell, does that not bring back some memories? You could tell. I think I saw a date. I was 3 or I was 4. I was 4 when I made this.
Well, yeah, listen, we'd go to the Practically Picasso side of things, and the teacher would be like, all right, everybody, let's make a bowl, or let's make a cup, or let's make something useful. And little buddy Trey over here is rolling his clay up to make a Godzilla.
Just making my own. And I went to the Godzilla 2000 route. Clearly, I was just like, I dig it. That's how we're doing. This. I saw him. I was like, oh, you it's one of those scenes where you're like, good God, why do I still have this thing? What am I going to do with it? And then you kind of go, oh, memories. The amount of
how are you going to throw that
Godzillas.
Away? You're not a Godzilla fan if you throw that away.
I'm keeping it.
Yeah, if you ever break it too, you're not a Godzilla fan anymore.
Just the way it's gonna be.
People are saying that's cute. Lifelong Godzilla fan. He is.
I try. It's one of those scenes. Corey always tells a story of how he mom and dad had bought him one of those TVs that had a DVD player in it, and it wouldn't work with any of his movies.
It was a Japanese TV.
It's a little Japanese DVD TV player, And I was like, all right, let me try something, Corey. Put in one of my Godzilla Toho DVDs, and all of a sudden the movie comes up, it's playing, and Corey's just like, what the hell? I was just like, I'll take it. I got plenty of films I can watch.
I ended up giving it to you, I believe.
I think you did, yeah, for a little bit.
No, I didn't want the TV. I'm getting a new TV.
That's it, But guys, we're so grateful to see you all here for this Monarch Monstars stream. We're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of the new Apple TV show, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So let's just go through briefly all the things that we have to do, all the logistics. You already know. But if you want to hang out with us and get to know us on a personal level, follow us on our social media pages like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Threads at _Bat Channel, or if you're on Facebook still, at Holy Bat Channel. It's just a great way to connect with us, maybe be a part of some of the discussions that we have on there. We do a lot of Q&As with just about different fandoms, and maybe you can always send us stuff like, hey, you guys should review this or talk about this, or did you see this from this episode? Do it. Just DM us. Let us know what's going on. We'd love to hear from you guys. And another great way to support the channel, smashing that like, sharing this video, subscribing if you haven't already. Help us get to 10,000 subs. Yes, that is our goal. You're like, Trey, you're not having that 3K yet. We're not thinking about 3K. We're not thinking about 4K, 5K. We're thinking about 10K, because 10K, you guys know, we like to do a lot of charity streams. We like to raise a lot of money for AFSP, Feeding America. And the easier way to do that, we've been doing it using super chats for those charity streams, and that YouTube is a little difficult when it comes to that area. Once you hit 10K, you get to do those charity streams, and the money just goes directly right to that charity. So that sounds fun to me. That sounds like a great idea. So help us get the 10K. We can't do it without you guys spreading the word about the Bat Channel. So join the battalion. You already know what to do. And if you haven't already, we've been on fire with these Monarch watch parties. We did it all on Thursday night with episode 1 Aftermath, episode 2 Departure, and now just so you guys know, they're releasing Monarch Legacy of Monsters episode 3 this Wednesday, the 22nd. So it's not going to be its typical Thursday or Friday, Wednesday, which technically, because of how Apple TV releases things, it's actually going to be Tuesday for a stream for us, because they release it at 12 a.m. Eastern. So that makes it like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock our time, something like that. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell on it because you're not going to want to miss that episode. And Corey, my man, my super bro co-host, I think it's time to bring in our fellow Monarch Monstars, our panel today.
Yes, sir. Monarch Monsters. It's time to form up, everybody.
Time to form up. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him here before. Our boy, Orc and Beans 14, and our good friend who was with us on our Godzilla 1998 25th anniversary watch party, Josh. My man. How's it going, guys? How you doing, everybody?
Hello.
Is, everyone feeling good about the first 2 episodes so far? Like, I know the hype was pretty good for this show, but when you finally turned it on, did it live up to some of your expectations? What's the initial reaction so far? We'll start with Josh, Orc, and then Super Bro. Oh, I think he's muted, Corey.
I think I did that. My bad. No, that first episode, like I told you, I messaged you guys, blown away. So now I'm like, wow. Like I mentioned this on the Godzilla 98 stream. You know, I'm not like super knowledgeable about like everything and like the Toho verse, but this has made me like really kind of start like looking. I watched the Godzilla -1 trailer and I was just like, ooh, I might have to go check this out because they're going all in, and the special effects are just amazing. The storyline is really captivating, which is surprising. And like you were saying earlier, like they've really started to re-emphasize the human part of it, you know, and instead of like just focusing on the kaiju or the monsters or the titans or whatever you want to call them, they're now giving us that more grounded approach, which I guess Toho is more known for. So I love it. And then episode 2, I loved even more. So excited.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely kind of getting back to a little bit of the more grittier take of the MonsterVerse, like the 2014 film. So I'm liking it. It's cool, and that's what it's all about. Like, I don't think some people like realize that these IPs are so important, especially when you do the spin-offs and when there's these different versions of it with the Toho, with Legendary's version, and to kind of do these spin-offs, it hopefully translates into the other IPs like Toho. You know, if you started with Legendary, maybe it'll get you interested in the Toho stuff. If you started with Toho, maybe it'll get you interested in the Legendary, and it goes hand in hand. So I love the care and the respect that they're putting into these shows because they look quality, you know, they look good. My man, Orc and Beans. What you doing, buddy?
Yeah, so I didn't get home until super late last night, and so but I was gonna make sure that I was gonna watch it, and so I was up till I think 1 a.m. was when the second episode finally finished for me, and it wasn't what I expected. I definitely enjoyed it, especially like the ending of episode 2. It just wasn't what I expected in the sense of like some of the story choices that they made. You know, we'll obviously talk more about, but you know, I really didn't think daddy issues was going to be a major plot line in the show, but
Daddy.
but
Daddy wasn't there.
And you know, but I enjoyed it. I really did. And I was super excited. Each episode made me want to go and watch the next one, and I'm very excited for episode 3. But I'm worried that I'm going to run into a case where I want to watch one timeline more than I want to watch the other one. Because right now I like seeing the, you know, what was happening in the 50s and stuff like that more than I'm enjoying what's happening in 2014, or I think it's 2015. That the you know, the newer timeline or whatever that we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's supposed to be in 2015. So I'm definitely enjoying watching, you know, what happened long ago more than the newer group. But I'm hoping they're going to pull me in, and Kurt Russell's character coming in into that timeline as well has also made me want to watch their timeline more too. So I'm just really excited to see where the rest of the season goes. It caught me by surprise, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I agree with you. Some of it I was kind of like, whoa, they're going there. Like I was not where I was expecting to go. It adds a little bit of an interesting human drama to it and a little more mystery. But I agree that did kind of catch me off guard. That particular family dynamic that they threw us in right away. It was kind of like, oh shit, like I don't know where they're going with this, but all right, let's just get into it. Let's get into the thick and weeds. I like it. Super Bro, do you got daddy issues?
Yes. No, before I jump in, I'm gonna just do a quick shout out to the chat. Everybody's filing in real quick right now.
Here?
We have hashtag Restore the Snyderverse Guy, Bat Fanatic, Kaiju, Crazy Craig Rowland, Trevor H is in the house, Oracle's Clock Tower, Red Hooded Outlaw, Beyond the Night, The Butler, The Batman Who Laughs, Carrie Kelly, Brogu, Nine Lives in Hell here, Joker's Wild. We got Batwoman, we have Keen, Donkey Kong, we have Ryan Swayze, Skywalker the Jedi. Did I miss anybody? We have Red Hooded Outlaw 2 Trade dropping a $5 super chat already, getting things ready to rock. Man, thank you so much. He says, hyped, been waiting for the stream. Hashtag Monarch Monsters.
You know it, buddy. Red Hooded, that's so kind of you, dude. Thank you for giving us that $5 super chat. It really does help us out so much. When you guys do super chats, because it goes basically right back into the show, making it better and helping out with some of our subscription bases like StreamYard that we have to pay for every month. So Red Hooded, thank you so much. When you put that money into us, it makes us feel so good, and we like to show our little thank you back. Corey, can you play my man Red Hooded something?
You know it's already time to start the victory dance, baby. Let's go.
I'm so glad, dude. The amount of memes I found of Godzilla lately have been so wonderful. I've been thinking about like clipping some of them, but like I also need to find a way to like give that person credit.
Bro, I want that one to be longer. Like I like if that was just the
looped
entire show, just to like I love it, man. Like I just want to live in that meme. It's fantastic.
Why not? I mean, it's just one of the greatest moments in Godzilla history.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Red Hood Outlaw. But quick on my thoughts, real quick. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm enjoying it a lot. I told Trey and everybody right before the stream started that I actually started watching Godzilla last night. So not the 1954 one, but the 2014 one.
The Gareth Edwards film, the first movie in the MONSTERVERSE.
Yeah, so like that's unheard of for me. To like Trey, that's probably comes as a surprise for Trey. Like, oh, Corey
Team
turned on a Godzilla film. Yeah, exactly. Team Kong, baby. Yeah, so it's like it's wild. This show is definitely opening up. Kind of my passion for kaiju films now. So it's like I was talking to a friend, a coworker this week on Friday about how awesome Monarch Monster or Legacy of Monsters, Monarch Monsters, Legacy of Monsters. It's
very fun for Corey right now. He's having trouble just saying it.
Yeah, but
like, I can't believe I'm gonna say that.
Corey's like, after all these years, I finally got him to watch the movies.
Kind of cracking it through. So I'm excited to watch more kaiju content. I was thinking I was about to turn on Pacific Rim this morning, so it was like, yeah. Look at that face from Trey. Exactly right.
Like, dude, now we're going in deep. You're going into the rabbit hole of kaiju madness, my man. I like it. There we go.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So good stuff. Yeah.
It's just the way of the world, my man. But I'm glad to hear like everyone is kind of bringing in a little something different from the panel of their first take and first impressions of the show. I feel like so far from what I've seen on social media, it's been fairly positive for the most part. Like people are saying like, yeah, this is some like good MonsterVerse content. Because I think especially with the last two films they've kind of gotten a little silly with it to where people are kind of like, oh, it's not quite what we were expecting with, what the 2014 film started. They've kind of gone into this more fun, adventurous, kind of just sci-fi madness of a thing. And this is kind of going back to what the 2014 film did so well, which was the Monarch mystery and the secrecy and the grittiness and kind of the fear, the terrifying fear of, what if this was possible? What if we lived in a world where monsters existed? And I dig it. What's up, Grogu? Dance Godzilla dance, I said. It's just one of those things where people got to do what they got to do for, and Godzilla likes to dance. I don't know what music he likes to dance to. I think he's a jazz dancer. I think he likes the jazz, but guys, are you guys ready to just like jump right into the first episode and like really kind of, we're going to talk about some of the main themes. We're not going to completely break it down like we have with Star Wars. But I think there's some good discussions to be had with the first episode of Aftermath. As you guys may have seen with the opening scene that they dropped on YouTube to kind of get people hyped, they kicked us off right with John Goodman's character, Bill Randa, which it's so good to see him. I remember when he was in Kong Skull Island, that was just like, he was one of my favorite parts of that movie, and it broke my heart when they killed him off. But I loved how they kind of did this side quest. Like, there's a story here that you didn't know, that he was up to something, and there's a history with Bill Randa that you guys are going to kind of explore a little more. So when we got this unseen footage from 1973, I just loved how they kicked it off with the film, a couple of clips from Kong Skull Island, but to have him being chased by the mother Longlegs, and he's getting through the jungle, and he's cornered basically on this beachfront, and tosses the bag that he's going to send to his son Hishiro, where we'll learn more about him a little later. But you could tell there's a weird family dynamic there too, when he says like, hey, I hope you get this. Well, actually, I hope you don't, because that'll mean I'm dead, but which you probably won't care too much about anyways. So it kind of gives us this whole family dynamic. In a lot of ways, Monarch Legacy of Monsters is a family show. But it's a lot of drama that they're kind of already building us up to. But as we see this crab creature comes out and kind of prevents him from dying then, but many years later, that bag that he threw into ocean is eventually found, which contains a lot of secret files for Monarch, which this is getting to be a very interesting show, just in terms of Bill Randa worked for Monarch, yet everyone seems to want his bag. What do you guys think is in his bag that is so important to Monarch that they need to take it? And why do you think his son felt the need to hide it after all these years?
Who do you want to start?
Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Go for it, bro.
So first of all, you know me, I get nitpicky about stuff. His face looked weird in that whole scene. I don't know if they had to de-age him a little bit or what, but I just remember when I was watching him running and stuff, I couldn't tell if it was actually John Goodman, if it was a CGI version of John Goodman. It was weird. His whole, if you watch it back, his face looks weird the whole time. But it was good to see him. I'm a big John Goodman guy. And yeah, I think these tapes, as we see later on, the kids start to get kind of chased over the tapes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's just classic government. Everyone's got their secrets. And I wonder if these tapes are the reason why Daddy goes missing. Because they must have known that he had these tapes. And I think, it's going to be one of those things where on those tapes, there's something that Monarch does not want to get released to the public, either for fear that it's going to cause everyone to panic, or if it's a fear that other government people will use it to their advantage for profit because, you know, our main character says, you know, that they like to profit off of tragedy. And so maybe they're worried that because, you know, I'm kind of jumping around, but, you know, the guy shows up and he says, you guys aren't in trouble yet. And I think it might be one of those things where I feel like our main character reacted way too harshly. And it might just be a thing where Monarch is trying to protect people. And they feel like if the tapes are in their hands, they'll be able to utilize it better and protect people better instead of if it gets into the wrong hands and they just feel like they're the right hands for the information. So I think, you know, it's going to be the biggest thing is what is on these tapes that we're going to, you know, finally start to get a little bit of nitpick of more and more details as we go. And it may even lead to finding out why Daddy goes missing.
That's interesting. You bring up some good points because that was one of John Goodman's themes. You know, Bill Randa's character, his version in Kong Skull Island was that his mission, even though he worked with Monarch and their original goal was to keep it contained, right? To keep it classified so that the public wouldn't get out about it. And we kind of learned with Bill Randa, he has such a hatred with the monsters and the kaijus and the titans that he does want the public to know about them so that we go after them and annihilate them. So kind of an interesting dynamic that maybe there's something to lead to that. But what do you think, Josh? What's your thoughts?
Real quick. So I love what Beyond the Night said here. What since you mentioned the footage, what do you think's on the footage? A new kaiju?
It could be something, you know, it could be something like that, or it could just be, you know, maybe because, you know, Bill Randa's trying to kill him. Maybe he's found out weaknesses for some of the kaiju. You know, and like, you know, what Trey was kind of saying is, you know, Monarch wants to protect these titans essentially. And so maybe on the tapes are ways to destroy them. And so they're trying to not only protect the people, but also the titans. So I think whatever it's going to be is it's going to be something that kind of changes the way people feel about the titans and how they want to react to being in a world where they live with these gigantic monsters.
Interesting. What's up, Broco? Good to see you, buddy. Josh, your thoughts, my man.
Yeah, no, kind of just piggybacking on that note, like it's got to be the thing that kind of came into my mind, honestly, as a Godzilla versus Kong fan, like the in the cave, there was like, you know, like the tale of the legacy or the rituals that were going on with the people and the natives,
the Iwis, yeah.
So the fact that the flashback with John Goodman is in the Kong Skull Island timeline, and I think it was in the 50s, right? Or no, that's the 70s.
Kong Skull
he's
Island
after
takes place
Vietnam.
in 73. Yeah.
73, right? And so there's a lot, I think, I was referencing visually in my mind that those, you know, that whatever that was in the cave. And then I'm wondering if there's kind of like he has footage of a way to, you know, either control, tame, you know, communicate, because just knowing what happens with Mechagodzilla, you know, and what the implications are later on. I'm wondering if there's just something that he captured in the 70s where it's just information that Monarch feels is not, if they don't have it, if they don't have that information, other people do, it can be used by people that they don't think should have it. So it's just power. It's a power struggle, I think. And I do think that maybe they could also be involved in something that the public, you know, would kind of see as unethical, possibly. So just big government type black ops cover up is kind of what I think is on there. I don't know anything specific.
Yeah.
But and to piggyback off the point about the face, I did kind of see it too. I even kind of was like, John Goodman was a little heftier, I think. So I do think they composed his his face on another actor's body. But I was kind of like seeing the kaijus. I was just kind of like, or the Titans or whatever they were. I was like, whoa! I was kind of just locked in. But I did kind of notice that part too. My only minor gripe, but other than that, I think it looked amazing. So I was locked in right away.
Nice, Corey. Your thoughts about what's the secrets within Bill Randa's? Bill Randa's forever going to be John Goodman. I say John Goodman, it's Bill Randa that I'm talking about. What's in Bill Randa's bag that's so damn important to Monarch?
That's an interesting question. I'm really curious. He felt the need to preserve it so much that he tossed his. That's going to be a pretty expensive leather bag because that thing held up incredibly well over the years to be found.
Yeah, almost 40 years, right?
To be found still floating around and everything like that. So
yeah,
kudos to that leather maker. He did a fantastic job. But besides the point, it has to be something huge. Like what I don't have really being a new Godzilla fan. Too many ideas what it could be, but as we see further on in the show, it's definitely important enough where Monarch is trying to get that information back. And Monarch, like from my understanding or my vibe so far, it doesn't feel like they're necessarily on the humanity's side of things, in my opinion, from the shows that I've seen. They care more about the kaijus and everything like that. So it's like your classic government BS, like Red Hooded Outlaw put their cover up type stuff. So I'm curious what's going to be. Maybe it's a canister of shaving cream with like embryos of different
Titan DNA, that they're going to recreate the Indominus Zilla.
We got docs in here. We got docs.
Interesting takes. Yeah, I love some of the theories I'm seeing in the chat. Some of you are really hoping it's another major Toho monster. Don't get me wrong, I think that'd be extremely cool. I'm going to guess we're not really going to see any other Toho monster other than Godzilla and Kong in this, just for the simple fact of the licensing that they would have had to acquire. And I think the amount of animation this was going to take, the post production was going to be kind of extreme on a TV series on Apple TV, that they were going to cut the costs in some way, and probably that would have been it. Like, might as well create your own monsters. It would be cool if we see something that's a super treat for us, but I don't know. It is a very interesting story that they're telling with Bill Randa's bag, and I love that you guys are kind of catching on that there's clearly a power struggle going on within Monarch. And I even thought it was interesting with Kong Skull Island compared to Godzilla King of the Monsters. Granted, these films in their timeline take place like 40 years from each other, but Ishiro Serizawa, he's at that point, he's kind of like the head of Monarch, and you can tell he's very much let the Titans be if there needs to be order, because the Titans start to create chaos. Godzilla will always be there to defend us and to shut it down, right? And then you have Bill Randa's perspective, who's an agent of Monarch, and his thought process is, we need to get the information out there and we need to destroy these things. So there's two different sides of the views of what the Titans mean to this world. And Bill Randa certainly has his reasons, for hating the Titans, that you even learn more of why he will treat them the way he does. And then with Serizawa, it's a very much love with nature kind of thing. So I love that they're playing into both those perspectives, and I can't wait to see where they kind of show the dynamic of that and the extremes of each side. But we get into this world. We meet our main character. I'm totally spacing her name right now. I know it's
come on, Kate.
Kate Randa, right? I just
Yes.
recall that was Randa. So
Mhm.
Kate Randa, her father has recently died, or as we learned, gone missing. So she goes to settle his affairs in Japan, where she ends up meeting this really interesting family dynamic where her father apparently had a second family in Japan. It seems her mother may have already known about it. But out of curiosity, just in terms of like storytelling and family drama, I know this was a point of like, whoa, Orc, like you were kind of like, I don't know where they're going with this. Let's take a second to talk about that storytelling, that family dynamic. Do you think what is the purpose of it? Why is it not, some people who are these kaiju fans, they're just like, just give me the monsters. I want to see the destruction. Why are we
Easy.
doing family drama?
Easy.
Josh, what's your thoughts?
Kind of like going back to what I was saying earlier about how there's kind of like an emphasis now, like the Gareth Edwards, right, is one who did 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay, so like the emphasis on like the human dynamics. I found it really fascinating. Surprisingly, I think it might seem like an outlandish to some people of a situation like this. But I actually have had friends and actually a former partner who this has happened to. Their father
wow.
actually had a separate family, and come to find out they had like siblings that were like, after years of like not knowing, there was like a whole separate family. And it was just kind of like crazy to hear that from people in my personal life. So for me, my perspective, I was just kind of like, ooh, you watch TV and you're like, we all want to be entertained, and you see a situation, and I was just kind of like, wow, just kind of, eating like a kid, like eating popcorn, like what's gonna happen next, like how are you gonna handle this situation? And I try to put myself in that situation, like how would I feel, if my parent or mother or father, this happened. So I was really locked in, and like Orkin being said, surprised at this kind of dynamic, but it did kind of lock me into what Kate was going through. And as we kind of saw her perspective, flashes of, we knew from the start of this universe that she was there. So she has a connection to the most well-known, kaiju in the world that we know. So I was thrown for a loop, but also locked in, seeing that her, I was like, what's going on with the key? And she's like, she stopped before she turned it, and just kind of preparing herself. So that emotional aspect of the family drama, at first you kind of like, are you going to be on Kate's side? Are you going to be on their side? And I actually loved both the characters that we meet on the other side of the door also. So I thought it was great because I was locked in from the get-go with that.
So that type of adding that family drama really helped you connect with the story a little more, just to be more interested in what's going on in their lives, rather than just what's, obviously the cool action scenes that are going to happen in the show. Okay, I like that.
Godzilla versus Kong, that's really all I cared about. Really, let's just see the monsters like you were talking about. That's what the emphasis was. And so for this, it took me back to that 2014 more mindset and approach.
All right, I dig that. Orc, what's your thoughts? I know it caught you off guard, my man.
Yeah, it was very surprising. It wasn't what I expected from the first episode, and kind of one of the earlier scenes. But I get why they did it, because it pairs these two characters together, but it also kind of gives them separate motivation to find the dad. The son kind of wants to find him, one, to get answers just like Kate, but also to prove that his dad's not a monster. He says that a lot to her, like he's not a bad guy. There has to be some sort of reason for this. Like, he keeps defending his dad, where Kate is more of the attacking of the dad. So it kind of gives you, kind of what Josh was talking about, of like, which side are you're gonna pick. And so it was an interesting way to get us there. I mean, it was shocking, and it did get me kind of involved into it a little bit, because it's like, all right, what are we doing here? But all right. But I think the biggest thing is just it was a way to pair the two kids together. It was a way to kind of build somewhat of a conflict between the two, and I'm sure by the end of it, they're going to come to some sort of understanding with each other, or maybe they might be able to kind of come together and just emotionally accept the fact that their father had two different families. Joker just said it to help push their journey together. It's a reason for them to stick together. And also, I absolutely loved that mother. She was awesome. She was so nice, so sweet. And just that scene of where she's like, you know, I'm not angry. You're angry. Do you feel any better? And then she starts tearing up the papers and they're throwing it up and having fun together. So, and then she's like, you know what? No, I am angry, but I do feel better. I absolutely loved her. So, she was a badass. And I hope we get to see some more of her. But yeah, it was surprising, but it was an interesting way to get them together.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad you brought up the mother because she was one of the, in the weirdest way, she has a very small role so far, but she is one of the best characters. Had some of the best scenes in both episodes, like you said, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I think she just had some of the most touching moments that really kind of grabbed you a little bit and was kind of like, oh, and Godzilla stories have always been like, it's not just monsters. It's not just this giant lizard fire breathing creature, destroying cities or protecting the city against another monster. They've always had that human element to it, something of a journey, of a life lesson to take from it, whether it's man living with nature, man against nature, and how nature punishes you, or something to the effect of dealing with tragedy, which is definitely a huge element to this show. They're showing you how we've dealt with multiple versions of tragedy and family trauma and life trauma and how we continue on. And I do really like where they're going with that. It's really bringing me back to the original Godzilla films, which is awesome. Super Bro, your thoughts about that family dynamic?
Oh yeah, I think Dr. Randa is just incredibly smart. He's kind of hedging his bets there. So, you live in a kaiju crazy world. You have a family in Japan and you have a family in San Francisco. So, if one, gets wiped out,
you still have no idea where you were going with this, Corey, and I'm listening like, what? Continue, please.
You have another family to go to. No, I think what both Josh and Orkin Beans both said, I carry the same kind of emotions from it. It provided good storytelling. It provided attention, and also at the same time, they have something that they can build upon. They're technically stepbrother and sister. So it's going to be interesting watching their relationship unfold throughout the series. And then I was also going to say about her mother as well. Like it was cool for her, obviously she understands better than anybody what happened, and the kind of betrayal that took place there, yet she was still caring for, her stepdaughter in some ways. So it's it was just really impressive, storyline, and I'm excited to see how it continues to unfold.
Yeah, and one thing that I think what I've noticed with storytelling, especially when you're flipping between two different timelines, usually you're using it as like a reflection of what's happening in the past and in the present, with our main timeline. And I get the sense with, kind of our three characters in the present timeline with Kate, May, and her brother. I'm also spacing his name on. Man, here we go again, guys. This is Trey.
And her brother,
Kentaro. Right. It was like Kent, something like that. Having a bit of that weird family dynamic, kind of that, I guess you could say, in a weird way, not like a love triangle between brother and sister, but like the love triangle that her father created with both women and the two families now, that dynamic that they've created, this problem. I get the sense with some of those flashbacks with Lee Shaw and younger Bill Randa and the doctor, Kiko Mura, I believe it is. She, there seems to be something going on there. I don't know if you guys caught on to a couple of just reactions, but they tend to focus a lot on when there's intimacy going on between Bill Randa and Kiko. They tend to bring that shot over to Lee Shaw and see his reaction. And there's always like a bit of pain there, it seems like. So I'm curious if there was ever a bit of a love triangle with those two. Maybe that was the falling out between Lee Shaw and Hyoshiro. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought to see where they go with that. There's definitely more of a story that I think they're going to tell us with that group in the past, in the 50s. They're kind of their journey. But yeah, one thing I do want to talk about, where episode 1 really focuses heavily, is the post G-Day world. And G-Day, for those who don't know, G-Day is kind of the reference point of, I guess you could say, the first day that Godzilla, the Titans, the Mutos became public. There was no denying it or hiding it to the world. We now live in a world of monsters and titans. What's your thoughts about how everyone is handling post GJ, from 2014 in San Francisco, the devastation? We saw the crazy chaos and destruction that Godzilla and the two Jinshin Mushis, the Mutos, as some people call them, we've seen the destruction they cause. We see the trauma that our main character, Kate, is going through, and how the world is kind of dealing with it, especially in other countries, right? What's your thoughts on that? Josh, we'll start with we'll continue doing Josh, Orc, and then Super Row. That's how we'll do our questions and answers.
All right. Yeah, no, just going back to shout out once again to what you guys said to Amiko. I think it's Amiko, the mom's name, right?
Yeah.
She's my favorite character, just like you guys. And really for me, seeing her kind of notice that Kate was kind of caught off guard. I think they're running and they see Kate get knocked over by somebody running because of the drills happening. And so seeing that drill and just seeing how the society and the world has been set up when they're down there. And then it looks like, I guess Kate has a carried trauma of feeling claustrophobic when she was on that bus, right? So seeing that drill happen and her freaking out, and then everyone's kind of like, she's like the only one, Kate's the only one, and everyone's kind of like doing what they need to do. But then Emiko comes and comforts her and notices that Emiko is just such a strong character from the get-go, but also nurturing and compassionate. And that's something that I think in a world, if this were to happen, we can kind of think about how we would react, right? If somebody came into our lives and it was like, oh, this is your long lost husband's daughter that you never knew about or something, and you might be like, oh, I'm gonna be petty, and I'm not gonna. But in this world where monsters exist and titans exist, the humans need to band together. We need to, be united. And so it was really interesting, that scene in particular for me. We kind of got glimpses of it in the beginning when she's going through the airport and whatnot. And then the flight with the, what was it? The spray, the parasites that they were spraying for, right?
Yeah. The pesticides. Yeah.
I was kind of like, and I love that line of like the illusion of safety, something I think we could all kind of like relate to in a sense of what we've gone through recently in our real world. I loved all that commentary. So I love that the show is kind of showing, in my opinion, from my perspective, that even though there might be this hurt from Emiko, she's also a mother at heart. And so she's going to, in this world, she's like, look, we got to survive this. We're going to do this together. And so she was like an avatar, I think, for people, how they've adapted in this world for me. And I love that scene.
Yeah, man. It's wonderful to see, like we were talking about earlier, right? How different people handle trauma. And we talk about Japan in general, just with their experience from the nuclear blast. They've seen trauma, they've seen destruction, and in a way they're able to relate with others who have seen that trauma and that destruction, and they're able to connect on a different level. So yeah, it was a very touching moment between the mom and her stepdaughter situation that's going on. Orc, your thoughts about post G-Day?
We've all had to do fire drills in school, and how disruptive it is to the day, where now some of your classes have to be shorter because of it, because to make time for this drill. Now imagine your entire city has to just stop what they're doing and run to these shelters. How disruptive that has to be to the entire city, the economy, everything. You have to drop everything, all because of how important it is for them to do these drills, because of how big of a threat Godzilla could be to them. And so that was just really like, that's scary. It's terrifying. It's so impactful that they feel like they have to do these drills, shut everything down, because this is a real threat to them. And so that was just kind of a really impactful scene. And for Kate, it was even worse because she went through that trauma of San Francisco, and we get to see that scene of the bus falling down, and that hit me too, because my wife right now, she was on a bus with a bunch of kids going to a speech tournament. And so it's like, that could happen to somebody in this world. That is a real thing that they have to worry about. And you never know when it's going to come, And so that was just, it really like set the tone of the way the world has to be for them now. Is you kind of have to just be on edge, because in a moment it's all different and you're running for your life now. You're trying to protect the ones you love. And also, we kind of see it with Kate, where she doesn't find her dad for days after the San Francisco situation. Imagine if you're at work and you have no way to contact your significant other. You have no way to contact your kids. And so it has to add so much stress to the people, knowing that they have to deal with this and be prepared for it at basically all times. You kind of have to come up with I'm sure each individual family has kind of like, okay, if this happens, where are we going to meet up after everything's okay? If we're separated, where's, a spot in the city that we would go to try to find each other? You have to sit down with your kids at night and have these conversations of like, okay, what did the school say that you guys are supposed to do? Like, it adds this whole other dynamic to your life that can just, in a moment, in a snap of a finger, Godzilla is destroying your city and you have to run. And that has to affect their mentality, their mindsets, their moods. And, it kind of makes sense why you can see, the brother, who his name is Kentaro, he kind of has this face of just no emotion, because he's got to also kind of, he's been through this. This was kind of, it seemed like Kate was the first time doing this, because she's like, everyone just kind of goes back to their day now. And he's like, what, you think we're just going to go hide in a closet now? Like, it is now a part of their everyday life. And that sucks. Honestly, like, that sucks that has to be part of their everyday life, but it's something they have to prep themselves and their families for. And the government is clearly taking very seriously, because, we saw armed men down there with them and stuff like that. And so it really was a very, very impactful scene to kind of just show like the shit they have to go through just to live.
Yeah, I love what you guys are all bringing up with this. Super Bro, what's your thoughts about how they're handling post G-Day?
Yeah, man, I love it. Everything that you guys all just touched on is something I'm very passionate about. Like preparation side of things of the world. And I think it was Kaiju Crazy Craig, who said people do anything to feel they are safe,
Exactly.
even if it's fake. So they have, as we see in this photo, directional areas to go in an attack. That takes me back to the days of living even in like Florida, where there's hurricane evacuation routes and everything like that, or where as our parents went through some Cold War scares, and they all right, there might be a nuke coming, kids, everybody hide underneath your desk and put your hands over your head and kiss your ass goodbye type thing, because that's about as good as it's going to be. But that false sense of security is just wild, because one of the things that immediately popped out to me as well is like, look at those, SAM missiles and everything like that. That's, on top of the bridge. That's not doing anything to stop Godzilla. He's going to come through, let those hit him, and just kind of keep stomping on their city, bro. Like it's insane. But like they give these people their false sense of security. So when Orc and Bean started touching on, as a family, you should have a preparation plan and everything like that, and not just preparation for like, what are you going to do about food, what are you going to do about water, and all the necessities that you need of life, but what's the the reconciliation, what's the after portion, where do we find each other, where do we reunite, if we are separated and everything like that. It was very cool, because it's like, in a lot of ways, it's art, mimicking real life, that, like Josh said, with things that we've gone through in the past. But like, you never know when a disaster might strike, where Hurricane Katrina wipes out your town, and you have to find your family again. What are you going to do when the cell towers are gone and such like that? So I absolutely loved, just like seeing this post G-Day world, this post world of, they know that these horrible things are happening and how these families are planning. But it does also show the almost sense of like, we just did this drill, and then right back to it again. So like, are they eventually going to take it where, like, oh, it's just a drill, no big deal. I'm still going to cook up this chicken, and oh crap, Godzilla's actually here, so right. It's just a really cool kind of just like depiction of the world, even in real life today.
I agree, man, and that's what's part of the beauty of it, is we're able to in a giant metaphorical way kind of express some of the things that we're dealing with in our own world, and kind of put it into art. And that's exactly Godzilla, right? From the beginning, Godzilla has always been a reflection of trauma and tragedy, and how we deal with that. And in a way, if a lot of people don't know about this, but after 1945, when we dropped the nukes on Japan, part of the deal was the US told all the film studios in Japan's Hollywood, essentially, that you can't make any film talking badly about America. You can't make any movie talking, in a negative way, or, talking about the nuclear bomb. Like, you can't do any of that, because we don't want that propaganda going around. So what did they do? They found a loophole. They created this character, Godzilla, that was supposed to be a reflection, a version of the atomic bomb that wreaked havoc and destroyed their city, right? Even, the shots in the original 1954 Godzilla just devastated Tokyo. It really helped the Japanese people heal from seeing that movie, because they were able to connect with that trauma. They were able to see it, but also see the strength of Japan fighting back against it, right? To kind of take back their lives in a way. So Godzilla's always kind of had that narrative of how we handle tragedy. And I really loved, with post G-Day, we're clearly seeing our main character, Kate, deal with that PTSD, that trauma of losing those kids on the bus who she was trying to save. And one thing I've kind of thought was interesting with Godzilla, the 2014 film, is once again, you have these two different perspectives, right? At the end of the 2014 Godzilla, you see a news TV show going on that says Godzilla, King of the Monsters, savior of the city. You know, they're already kind of throwing this, he's the savior, right? He took out the Mutos. But we're now seeing this other side, right, with Kate's character, where she doesn't probably have the same perspective about Godzilla. He killed those kids, right? She's going to blame him for it, even though, yes, we could debate he was getting shot at. What would he do, right? Like, he doesn't want to be shot out. He doesn't like it. He's an animal. Like, and he probably didn't mean to kill them. They were just in the way for a giant ass creature. We can throw that argument, right? But it's the same thing with Bill Randa and Sarazawa, and even Mark, Kurt Chandler is his name. I can't remember. The King of the Monsters actor who played Mark, who is Millie Bobby Brown's dad in that. You know, he has the same reaction, right? Godzilla killed his son. He blames Godzilla. But there's this change where that happens where Godzilla didn't mean to. He is the defender of our city, right? But there's that interesting fear going around of Godzilla destroyed the city. He has the power. It's kind of in a weird way for us DC fans as well, right? It's like Superman, you know? How do you feel comfortable knowing that there's someone out there that if he wanted to one day, he could wipe you out? What would you do? Would you take him out? If there was a 1% chance that he could just annihilate and destroy everyone? Well, I think everyone takes that opportunity. You know, what's up, Orc? What are you thinking?
Well, and also there's a very similar shot that both Kate and Bill deal with. You know, Kate sees this bus falling basically to the abyss.
Yeah.
And then Bill sees his wife, fall into the abyss when she's. So we might kind of start to see that maybe Kate has kind of the same similar ideas and feelings as Bill did, because they've kind of, in a way, had the same kind of experience. Obviously Bill, it's his wife and it's her, the kids, but it's a very similar shot of just kind of seeing loved ones disappear and they're gone.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I think someone said it here. Someone brought up something very interesting. I think it was the butler. I'm trying to find it where he said it. I saw it earlier and I was like, oh, I want to talk about that. Kentaro. Kentaro also hasn't experienced the horrors the way Kate has. In a fun way, it's a reflection of our own societies, right? Like, because we didn't, it's that idea that she was there. She saw firsthand the horrors of Godzilla.
The taxi driver says it was CGI.
The guy says it was CGI, right? There's this speculation. Was it even real? Which is exactly how our society deals with things, right?
And everyone's got a podcast.
Yeah, when we're check out my podcast while you're at it, but to see that as a reflection of ourselves, like, if we're not there firsthand, there is that speculation. What did we see? Especially in a world of AI, and AI has gotten so good, we don't know what's real anymore sometimes, especially if you're not there. But it's that you can kind of tell Kentaro is he's kind of cold to her reaction to her. Like, she's clearly stressed out. She's freaking out. She was there. He knows she was there. And he's kind of like, seriously, like, deal with it, Which, would it be the same if it flipped? What if Godzilla attacked Japan and she happened to be there when they did a drill? Would she be cold towards his fear, his trauma? And I think that's what made the moment with the mom even more sweet, because she comes from a history where the A-bomb was a recent thing, that she probably remembers stories from her father telling and her mom telling her about the fear of that. So she's able to connect with Kate in that moment and to comfort her. And it's a very sweet moment. And I just love all the storytelling, the narratives that they're going on with that. And I hope they build into it more, the safety of illusion, the propaganda that's going around, people profiteering on people's need to feel safe, and maybe building more into Godzilla, savior or destroyer of the worlds. It's all those great things that I think this first episode, especially, they really nailed that type of fear, that trauma, putting us in a realistic world that we're able to connect with in a metaphorical way with these titans. Billy actually experienced twice when the kaijus fell over the cliff. The kaijus fell over the cliff. I'm trying to think where the cliff.
You're talking about when the crab is fighting the
Yeah.
and they fall off
maybe,
the side
yeah.
of the cliff.
This show has a lot of metaphors for things that we deal with in real life. Yeah, and that's one of the beautiful parts. I feel like Godzilla has always been a very easy way to kind of story tell and also put a something in there, that we can all connect with, even though it is very action and entertaining. It's an entertaining way to reflect our own lives, which is absolutely wonderful. But it kicks us off even further into the mystery of what Kate's and Kentaro's father are up to. What is he dealing with Monarch? You find that he's had the bag of his dad after all these years, and no one seems to really know what he did for a living. He does show up in San Francisco after 5 days after G-Day to meet up with his daughter, but he's already like, here, I have a ticket for you, I have a car waiting for you, a hotel, I gotta go. And that's apparently when he goes to this flight in Alaska, which, why is he in Alaska? He goes missing, right? He's apparently dead. We'll talk about that if that's true, or if maybe he's out there still somewhere. But I also just love that in this other timeline with Bill Randa, young Bill Randa, and Kurt Russell's young son, Wyatt Russell, I think he plays him. Wyatt, yeah. And to also have Dr. Kiko going on their journey to see if they can discover Titans. We're getting this great like adventure story with them, but we learn sadly, when they find this kaiju eggs that are all laid upon this Kazakhstan nuclear reaction source, energy source, or whatever it is, facility that's been stored there. She loses her life, which could lead into more why Bill Randa hates Titans, hates these creatures going into Kong Skull Island, like we talked about before. And of course, Monarch is on their trail. Monarch knows that they have these secret files. As soon as they plugged in with their dear friend, played by Kiersey Clemens, which, guys, for our DC fans, if you don't know who that is, Iris West from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes, she appears in this show, and she has a main role, and I love her character. She's sassy, but she's the tech guru of the group, and I love that about her. But I'm curious to see as her dynamic goes on. Like, it was like a drug for her. The moment she got some secret files of Monarch, she was like, I want to dive in deep and find out what the hell is going on. And I have a feeling that she may have learned a thing or two about it. But like I said, the more she looks into it, the more Monarch is closing in on their trail, trying to. And I get the sense, guys, let me ask you this real quick. With Tim, this Monarch secret agent, he seems to want to keep it all under wraps. So is he really working for Monarch? Or do you think he has ulterior motives? Is it really Monarch that's after Kate? Or is he just the guy behind the curtain who wants Monarch to think he's working for them, but he could be working with someone like, the King of the Monsters British Colonel, played by like that Tywin Lannister guy. I'm totally spacing his name.
I can't think of his name either.
You know what I'm talking about,
Orc,
right?
Tywin Lannister, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it's in here. I think it is. But what's your thoughts about Tim, who's after them? I think Josh is. Josh, he'll be back in a second. But Orc, what's your thoughts about Tim?
Yeah, I think Tim might have his own agenda in play that he has here. You have the one woman come over to him and it was like, "Hey, do you want me to alert, so and so?" And he's like, no, I don't." And then he immediately makes a call and it's like, "Hey, how good is your Japanese?" And so, we kind of talked a little bit about this. There's a difference in opinions in Monarch, it seems like. And I think we'll eventually find out what side Tim is on. If he is on team let's protect the Titans, or if he's on team kill the Titans. And so I think it's honestly, it's just kind of that Monarch Civil War that we kind of got going on. That we'll find out what side Tim is on here shortly.
Yeah, I agree. I think I see some people saying Sin Havoc, good to see in the chat, buddy. I think I see he's got his own agenda, which I think there is something going on there. It seems like he doesn't want everyone to know at Monarch what he is up to. But what's your thoughts, Josh, about the Monarch agent Tim?
Yeah, sorry, I just had some computer issues. I jumped back
No
on.
worries,
But
brother.
yeah, I don't know. He kind of like we mentioned earlier, or somebody had mentioned earlier, how he's like, talking about, I think Orkin Bean said, "You're not in trouble yet." I feel like he's just like the perfect gray character because it's like, he's the way he seems, in my opinion, like somebody who doesn't want to do bad things that maybe they're capable if they need to. So very much playing the sides, kind of like investing in the characters. And when he goes, I love that scene when he goes to the house with Kentaro and Emiko, and then he sees the portrait and he's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
So he's towing the line, obviously, as I'm sure he's just had to do in his occupation, working in this world. But yeah, he's not somebody. Man, I was gonna say that crash that happened, like he's pretty tough, right? He's like like that was a pretty both those agents kind of took a little whooping from Kate in that car scene. So I do think he's interesting to me so far. I'm not sure where he's gonna land, but
okay. Super Bro Corey, your thoughts on Tim?
Yeah, man, who the hell is Monarch, bro? Like that's like my first question. Like, from my understanding, Trey, Monarch is just like the secret scientific organization that monitors kaiju and Mudo type things. They don't actually have any government or authority making decisions where they can just come over, and I get they're in Japan at that time, but coming over to try to question Kate
in a way. So Corey, you saw the Transformers films, right?
Yeah,
they're kind of like Sector 6. So like they technically are with the government. They were started by the government, funded by the government, but they're so secretive that they kind of have the badge of we can do whatever we want and get away with it,
Yeah. So, does she have an obligation to talk to them? No, hell no. I would have punched him in the face and ran off as well. So, I need to see a warrant. Like what paperwork you got there? Like I ain't saying nothing to you. You're not allowed in this house. So, I was down with her trying to run away from them, and there's definitely, like, the second he didn't want to escalate something, just shows that there's corruption within Monarch as well. They're so secretive that the inner layers that as you go further into the walls of the Monarch building, I'm sure the secrets get more and more advanced, and it's very interesting to me to see him kind of go off on his own. What does he know? Was he involved in her dad's disappeared? Why he disappeared? So it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see what Tim does in this series.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely something going on there with him that hopefully will be revealed as the show goes on. But I do like the mystery that they're setting up with Tim. I do like the idea. I think I saw someone say it where he could potentially be working with Alan Jonah. I do like that theory. The eco-terrorist from Godzilla King of the Monsters. and yeah, he does know their father, so there's something going on there. But I also, in the second episode, Departure, which is really departure from kind of them going on this journey, right? This moment of like, we're no longer kids, we're in the shit. It's the departure from innocence to now in this craziness world, and being hunted essentially by the secret organization, because as they start to learn more and more that their father had something to do with Monarch, as she sees the photo of their grandma in the footstep of Godzilla, learning that she had something to do with Monarch, and obviously learning more about their grandfather Bill Randa, which who knows, we know that Hiroshi Randa did not have a great relationship with Bill, his father. So did he ever talk about Bill Randa? My guess is he probably didn't talk about him. It seems like he may have been a very private person, only really talked about the fond memories and the few memories he had of his mother. So it's Monarch is like graspers. Oh yeah, I could see where you say that. Yep. So there's definitely, they're building a lot of mystery, but it kind of sets even Kentaro on this journey of like kind of figuring out more, because now he's curious of what his father's up to when he finds that Monarch file that leads him to Lee Shaw, which was known to Hiroshi, Uncle Lee. So it's all coming together. All the pieces are starting to put this team together to find out what happened to their dad, but also to discover some of the secrets of Monarch and what Bill and Hiroshi were searching for, which I'm really, really digging that. What do you guys think about this potential story of, essentially, there was a story that happened in Kong Skull Island where Bill Randa talks about the USS Lawton, the ship that he was on in the Navy in 1943 that was attacked by some creature, some kaiju. And he's searching for it after all this time. 9 years later, he's still searching for the USS Lawton and the creature that attacked them. We finally found the USS Lawton, but there's this ion dragon creature that has been making, I don't know, there's saliva, there's weird things going on at that ship. There's some gross things, terrifying things. What's your thoughts about the ion dragon? Do we finally have the answer we've always wanted from the Kong Skull Island? Who was the creature that attacked the naval ship? Is it this ion dragon? What's your guys' thoughts?
I don't think so. I think maybe just the ion dragon has kind of taken home to it. My reason why is because they say that they're about 500 miles away from where the ship was attacked. And I just didn't feel like that dragon was big enough to transport it 500 miles. It would have to kind of grabbed onto it and flown, and I don't think it was big enough. So I don't think we've gotten an answer yet on what possibly destroyed their ship. Maybe that's something that's in the files. Maybe, Bill Randa figures it out, all those time, all those years later, what happened to his ship that day. So I thought it was probably Godzilla. I see Nine Lives kind of says it too. I just don't think it's plausible, but that it's this ion dragon. I think ion dragon kind of just found it and made it a home.
Okay, Josh, what's your thoughts about this ion dragon that's made its home on the USS Lawton?
Yeah, I agree with Organ Beans. It's definitely, I think, just a little misdirect, but also awesome, ending reveal. Gotta have some monsters in every episode, but it does kind of seem like my go-to obviously is like, okay, which kaiju would be in the water? Godzilla, gets around through swimming basically, so I would think it would be Godzilla, but I could see them like you were mentioning earlier about the licensing. I could see them taking some liberties and maybe possibly creating something new. So I'm right now, my money's on Godzilla, but I'm also reserving the right to kind of put some money over here on the chance that they might
put in
create
some bets in each pot,
Yeah.
so you come away with something.
Exactly.
I like that. That's it's a good way to go. I dig it. Gianmarco says, my brother made me notice the Ion Dragon is too small to drag that big of a ship, and the Lawton was sunk under the sea. So yeah, you bring up a great point, brother, because they have a picture of the aftermath of what happened in 1943 of the USS Lawton. In that picture in the bottom right. Corey, can you move his quote real quick so people can see? So yeah, clearly we have a picture. It made landfall at some point. It was beached, but yet somehow it ended up 5,000 miles in a completely different direction. And this Ion Dragon seems to have made its home. So, and it looks, in my opinion, that thing is not nearly as big to have made the claw marks, the bite marks out of that thing. So something else must have done it. So I'm not convinced that this is the creature that took out the USS Lawton. Corey, how about you?
Everything that you told me about Godzilla and, seeing it all, clearly I don't think it was the Ion Dragon. I kind of felt that right away. That's something that made its home in there. The size didn't really matter to me. The time and everything, it's been 9 years. It's the mileage, that animal clearly found it, made its home, and then was defending its home. So, what you said about Godzilla, I don't necessarily think it's Godzilla either. One, you said it's very uncharacteristic of Godzilla to do something like that, but two, why the hell would Godzilla carry that thing for 5,000 miles is what we said?
500.
500, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, why, Godzilla don't care. He's like, oh, blah, get it out of here, and then would keep on going.
Godzilla, he's just, he's like Aquaman. He's just like, get this out of my ocean. Like, I cleaned this,
exactly.
just cleaned it.
Yeah. Unless he, straight up, just Hail Married it down, to the other side of the map. I just don't see it being Godzilla either. So I think it's probably going to be the big bad of the show, or potentially what's to come with the Monarch, and maybe it's what Bill Randa found and what those tapes are holding as well. So this is going to be the Godzilla is going to defeat whatever the monster that did this, and people are going to be like, oh, Godzilla's not that bad, and then have to tear up your city again, something along those lines.
Interesting. Okay, so you think this is going to be the turning point that maybe changes the mind, at least of some who fear Godzilla, that whoever this creature that destroyed the USS Lawton, assuming it's not G-Man, eventually it'll be the thing that Godzilla saves the day once again, and people are like, oh, okay, maybe this big dude's not such a bad guy.
Yeah, that's kind of the route that I feel personally.
I also get the feeling, simply because of Bill Randa's reaction, that he, I know people are like, well, Bill Randa said he saw a dragon, and then Lee Shaw refers to the scene like, oh, see, it is a dragon. I didn't believe you, basically. But Bill Randa's reaction didn't seem to me that he recognized it. I feel like he would have said something of value of, like, that's it. That's what I saw that day. And I also think he probably would have mentioned something about it in Kong Skull Island when he said that thing had no conscience. It just came and it destroyed it, and it just was brutal. I feel like he said, I found it years later and we got it, or something like that, or Godzilla got it, something to that effect. But the fact that he's still kind of holding on to that hatred, there is no closure for him really on that situation. So I don't think this is the creature that took out the USS Lawton just yet. But it's an interesting, I'm liking that we're getting into some of that, because that has been a question that has plagued the MonsterVerse fans, of thinking, who did it? Who done it? As I loved, who was it, Corey? Was it Red Hooded Outlaw who said this?
Which one?
if the claws fit,
Oh yeah.
if the claws fit, we must quit. That is
Dude, I
brilliant.
missed
Thank
that
you
one.
so much for that Reddit outlaw. Oh my god, that's pretty fantastic. But yeah, but it leads us further on into this. Bill Rand is obviously building even more of a relationship with Dr. Kiko, which we see eventually it leads to marriage and a child with Hiroshi. But she'll eventually lose her life, that we saw in the first episode, which is sad. It sucks, but it's all leading to this moment in the future. In our current timeline with the kids, and I keep calling kids; they're basically adults, but I'm going to call them the kid group. The kid group eventually being pushed to the fact that Monarch is hot on their trail. They're trying to take these kids and get that Monarch files for themselves, which pushes them all the way to find Uncle Lee Shaw, Colonel Uncle Lee Shaw, who's at this senior living home somewhere in Japan. But as we learn, it's actually a place where Monarch sends their older assets who need to retire to keep an eye on them. And they actually, basically, it's a prison for them. It's a nice prison, a very nice prison. He gets some bonsai trees, but they're being watched constantly. And I got to say, the fact that this show is utilizing Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell to play the same character is fantastic, because they have the same mannerisms. There is no faking it there. And they're just able to be like, Wyatt is already playing a very badass version of his character. And I love the fact that Wyatt Russell, when you kind of first see him as Lee Shaw, he's kind of arrogant. He doesn't like bullies. He's a tough guy. He's very much your classic, like what you would expect from a 1940s US badass, soldier. And I love that little dynamic that he had with Dr. Kiko, where he's like, oh, I'm looking for a doctor. And it's kind of that time where women didn't quite have that profession. So he's kind of confused by it. But like when she sees like how sassy she is back to him, he's kind of like, all right, she can throw down. Like, I'm going to roll with this. And I just loved that dynamic with their characters. But just wonderful all around. It's great to see Kurt Russell as Lee Shaw. Guys, to kind of lead us into episode 3. First off, does anyone have anything else to say about episode 2 before we talk about some predictions?
Yeah, I just what you were saying. The cast all around is just great. Like, shout out to, like you mentioned earlier, I think I dropped off Iris West, like that May character. Loved her. I'm loving all the characters, really. Like that there's an emotional attachment slowly but surely being forged with each character. Like you had mentioned how Bill and what's the character's name? Kiko.
Kiko, yeah.
Those certain scenes where you like you said, there's emphasis on certain things happening. It's just interesting. You're saying there might be more expansion in these dynamics and relationships going forward. And then like the mom character, a minor character who really doesn't have a ton of dialogue, just makes such an impact in a short amount of time. I can tell that, Kurt Russell is just going to be a badass going forward. So I'm really anxious to see more of him, the way he just like, hey, we got 60 seconds. I got this ankle monitor. You're going or not? Are we doing this or not? So
and he kind of like forces them to do it, right? He's just like cuts it off already. He's just like, you got 60 seconds. Like, dude, you just like, we're already in it. He's just like, I didn't really give you an option because we're doing it.
I love that too. And the ensemble, like I said, is just shout out to the cast, because like I wasn't expecting, as somebody whose last reference was Godzilla versus Kong and didn't really care about the human characters, just wanted the monsters to fight. This has really brought it back down to the human level of storytelling. So I love it. I'm in.
I dig it. Or Orchid Beans, what's your thoughts, my man, about Kurt Russell's Lee Shaw and where he's going to be taking the group next? What do you think he knows?
I think he's going to kind of be that tie-in between the two eras that we've kind of been following. Like I said, I kind of enjoy more seeing the back of the day scenes, and so I think he's gonna be kind of a nice bridge between the two. I'm looking forward to more, and I'm excited to talk about some predictions with you guys.
Yeah. Super Corey, anything left for episode 2?
Yeah, man, I just kind of carrying on with what you guys have said, echoing it in the sense that the cast has been absolutely fantastic. I really love the Russell family. I know, always been a big Kurt Russell fan, but Wyatt Russell, like really the only thing before this was Goon, like we talked about, Trey. So I'm really enjoying his character. Hopefully, things open up like that. I think this show and the some of these actors, I think they cast it so well that this could be some breakaway parts for some of these younger characters because they are doing such a fantastic job, like Kentaro and Kate and Wyatt's just absolutely tearing it up as well too, and of course our girl Kiersey. So she it's just absolutely fantastic the way they casted it, the dynamics of the characters that they have already set up in just 2 episodes, mind you. So I'm really looking forward to how this series continues to play out, Trey.
I agree, man. I just love this cast. I think they're very interesting. There's something going on. They're keeping us invested. And I think that's super tough to do when it comes to these kaiju B movies, or B shows, and yet that's what made Godzilla so great, so iconic, is the human element to it. So I like what they're doing. I like what they're setting up. There's a ton of mysteries. We'll see if the answers to those mysteries are as satisfying as the journey itself. But I'm liking what they're putting down with it for sure. Episode 3, guys. We know our guys, they're off with Colonel Lee Shaw, or Great Uncle Lee Shaw. Yeah, take him to go find Hiroshi. As it says in, and let me pull it up, the quick little plot summary to episode 3. It says, sorry, I gotta scroll because they're small. Shaw leads the team on a dangerous mission to Alaska in search of Hiroshi. Hiko, Lee, and Billy present their findings to General Puckett. So we're still going to get some flashbacks of the 50s group. So that's not going anywhere. I'm a little curious, one, about why they showed so quickly that Dr. Kiko, supposedly, as far as we know, she dies in the first episode, right at the end of the show, where she falls into the roach pit, and yet they're keeping on her story, that they're doing a little previous flashbacks even before that. I almost think it would have been better to have waited on that, but what do you guys think this is going to lead us to episode 3? I think there's a bit of a dynamic that we're going to see hopefully change between younger Lee Shaw and Bill Randa now that Kiko is passed. But I don't know. Where do you think we're going to find more answers about Hiroshi?
Yeah, I think Daddy's not dead. He was very clear when he was saying goodbye to Kate, to be like, tell your mom I love her. And, you can kind of see the tears in his eyes. And I think that was very clear of him knowing something's going to happen. So this idea that he just randomly died in Alaska, I don't think random things happen in Monarch. So I think we're gonna find Dad and get some answers for the kids. I think we're gonna find out what kind of happened between him and Lee to kind of have their falling out a little bit. But I'm also looking forward to seeing what happened in the past with Lee and Bill, and what they have to tell, and maybe we're gonna kind of start to see the early beginnings of when the government's like, maybe we should make a team, to kind of handle some of this stuff, because it's going to be a lot of trying to convince the government that there might be something afoot, that there's there's some Titans around. So I look forward to seeing kind of all of that play out. But yeah, hashtag Daddy is not dead.
I like it. I like it. Josh, your thoughts about
Yeah, no,
episode 3?
I 100% agree. Daddy's not dead. It's coincidence, that they're going back to Alaska right after this, little bit of a lead in to more, the episode is titled Secrets and Lies. So I think it's telling us right there that we're going to get a big revelation. I think I agree with the chat. Monarch is his third family, so to speak. And I think that in that regards, maybe they think that the information that he has seen possibly on those tapes is something that he can't be amongst the public, and so he's being held maybe, or something, I don't know. But I'm excited to kind of continue the journey with this little ragtag team, as it were, of people that are just trying to search for revelations and a world that's probably full of just like so many questions, where monsters and Titans exist, and you're just trying to make sense of it all. I'm sure there's no real answers for people, but I think that this little small team slowly but surely will use their skills, as we know each person has a particular skill, and use that to help each other make sense of it all.
Yeah. I like it. All right, Corey, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess I have a question, Trey. Yes, we saw Kiko fall into the pit, but we don't think she's dead there, do we? Like that's not what you're saying, because is that what you're saying?
I think she is dead, because they mentioned when they saw the picture of their grandma, which is Kiko, in the Godzilla footprint, the son Kentaro says like she died at a their father, when he was when their father was a young age, she passed.
Yes, but like I guess maybe I got maybe mixed up in the flashbacks, because obviously Bill Randa said I'm not much of a kid person, and she's like, you once were a kid person, so it gave me vibes that though they weren't they didn't have kids yet. So when they
he does say like, you guys have been able to keep Monarch running, and you have a great kid. And that's when she kind of makes a comment like, and he says like, I don't plan on ever getting married. I don't plan on ever having children. She's like, there's once when you did, that's why I kind of think there's something that may have happened there. There's a falling out with Lee and Hiroshi. So I almost wonder, does he find out that Lee, that is actually his dad, rather than Bill Randa? I don't know. This is just like, if they keep throwing in family drama that like goes nuts, and maybe explains why Hiroshi is kind of the way he is, where family is not like a sacred thing to him in a way.
It would make sense, because Godzilla is also a shitty dad. So I mean, it fits the theme.
I'm not going to comment on that, because I think Godzilla's a great dad. I mean, if your kid looks like Manila, why wouldn't you step on his tail? It gets better when Godzilla Jr. happens, with Destroya. We'll be all right. What the hell am I doing with this?
He becomes a good dad after he dies.
Oh man.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think she died. All those creatures hanging on to her leads me to believe that she's dead. I mean, if not, she fell pretty far, and they're clearly using her for food.
He fell too.
He was on the rope. Yeah,
that's right.
He survived. He was on the rope. He was shooting, trying to get her, and she falls to her death because there was just too many. Which, like I said, I think that will hold a bit of a tension between him and Bill, for the simple fact that like Lee kind of was like, no, we shouldn't like go down there, and I think there's just going to be that tension of like, well, Lee didn't have to go with her down there. They could have both helped pull her up. Bill forgot arm day, and couldn't quite pull her up.
Yeah, like I thought the whole plan from the beginning was they didn't both have to go down there. That they were going to be able to quickly pull her up, and like clearly.
Well, it's that I think that's where we're seeing some of the tells, right? That something was going on between this triangle. Is that clearly he had feelings for her, and that he felt very protective over her. And Bill, Randa, and her were kind of the more adventurous ones. And his mission, right, that we learn in the beginning of episode 2. Oh, I think we lost Josh again. Monarch is coming after you, buddy. They know. You know, he goes down there to ensure her safety, you know, and you could tell that everything they do, they're kind of reckless, not reckless in the sense, but like they're scientists. They're thinking about the science and the discovery rather than Lee Shaw, who is clearly the security detail. And he's kind of like, no, we need to do it this way. You know, like we need to handle it in a certain situation. My job is to keep you guys safe. And of course he fails in a way with this mission, but I think there's something going on. I think there's something more to it.
If he doesn't go down there, she doesn't die. Like, one, he could have helped pull her up, and two, the whole reason the ground starts to break is because he's fucking walking around. And
I mean, was it an accident that was bound to happen though in a way? And knowing
she was being careful. She was focused and working and stuff. She didn't break any ground.
I don't know. I'm not convinced it was Lee Shaw's fault, really.
Hashtag Lee killed her.
Oh my God.
He was so jealous that he had her murdered.
I think he would have killed, you know, I think that was his thing. He was just like, you go down there. You know, I'm just kidding now. But I don't know. It's an interesting, I think there's definitely, maybe that's the secrets and lies that we'll eventually learn, that we'll learn what set Hiroshi and Uncle Lee on different paths. I don't know. Why not make the family dynamic a little crazier? But does anyone else have other predictions or theories about what's to come down the line for the Monarch show?
Man, I tell you what, I'm so excited to see Kurt Russell, man. How he was just like, we're in a Monarch prison right now, and watch me cut this thing off, and we're gonna have 60 seconds, so y'all better figure out what we're gonna do. So I love how he's still living life on the edge, you know. He's still gonna jump in there and do what Shaw does, you know. So
yeah,
it's exciting.
I agree.
What I would
sorry,
like
go
to
ahead,
see,
Josh.
Going back to kind of what you were mentioning about the scene when that stunning scene of when we see Godzilla, you know, come out of nowhere in the flashback with Kate. I think he's got like one of his arms. There's like a suspension. The bridge, I think, is like hung on it, and he kind of like forcefully, you know, gets away from it, and then it causes the whatever beam to fall on the wreckage and then the bus, you know. And like you were saying in your I watched y'all's watch party, you know, like your heart just kind of sinks when you hear the children's screams, you know. So as somebody who's Team Kong, like Corey over there,
exactly.
I was like, see, I haven't, and I don't remember something as, you know, of course there's collateral damage in these movies, but from the Kong perspective, I didn't see something, you know, that traumatizing in my opinion. But in order to be fair, I would kind of like to see maybe somebody's perspective of a Kong attack, you know, where something maybe goes awry and kind of balance it out a little bit. So I'm gonna give Godzilla the benefit of the doubt. He was getting shot at, he was getting attacked, you know, he had a little itch. So, but as of right now, King Donkey Kong, Team Kong.
How many blonde women does King Kong kill in the Peter Jackson movie?
Hey,
he launches that one for sure. So at least one blonde woman was murdered by King Kong.
Too. When Kong just like picks him, like, what the hell?
Yeah, he pulls the one for sure and launches her. So at least one blonde woman
Some
was
beautiful
murdered by King
blondes
Kong.
that he's just tossing around. They're just like, dude, like not only is their last moment, like Kong killing them, but like a dude that just completely rejects their looks, you know, just like, oh.
Imagine being rejected by a monkey.
Oh my God. That's so good.
Oh man. Hey, he has good taste. What can I say?
You know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. Just don't be blonde. You know, sorry, Josh. But no, I love where they're going with this. Oh, let's see. What does TJ say here? I have a feeling they are going to hint at orangutan name. Oh, the orangutan from the Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire teaser. Okay, with funny eyes, and maybe we find out he's a Monarch creation. By the way, all I said, it's a hint. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I like it, but I'm not. I think I prefer that him being like an ancient king in the Hollow Earth more. But it's a cool idea.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Trey. At what point is Monarch actually going to stop studying these things? And like I mentioned Pacific Rim earlier, when are we going to see, has there ever been like some mecha Monarch level Pacific Rim style defenders to help, Japan's about to be attacked, and out comes this, mecha that
as far as we know, Mecha Godzilla made by Apex is the only thing that has been created to actually take on the Titans. And that's where I think Tim is clearly on his own mission, because at this point, after 2014 Godzilla, I believe Ishiro Serizawa, who's played by Ken Watanabe, he's clearly the head of Monarch at that point. He's kind of the face of it. So he clearly has a protect the Titans, leave them be, let them be. Yes, there are some that are, aggressive towards humans that we need to take care of and let Godzilla take care of them. But I think he's very much a live and let live and coexist with Titans, with Gojira, but clearly some people have different ideas within the Monarch unit, I don't know. But yeah,
so
as far as we know,
we might see some Pacific Rim battles and stuff.
There has always been a hope of a Pacific Rim and Godzilla MonsterVerse crossover. My hope is they don't do that. I personally don't like that idea, just because I think that takes away from how cool Mecha Godzilla was, especially when you have something that I think if you're going to do Pacific Rim, that clearly makes it Godzilla's the bad guy, and they've already kind of set up MonsterVerse where Godzilla is not the bad guy unless you provoke him. You make it your mission to make him the bad guy, then he becomes the bad guy. He doesn't screw around, but he's very much the protector of nature. He's the protector of the earth, in this MonsterVerse series. Gian Marco says, and I love that you can tell Kurt and White studied each other while filming and really created Lee Shaw together, because the moment old Shaw starts to act, it looks like the same person for real. Well, it helps, when you're father and son in real life, to kind of have the same mannerisms.
That they're spitballing together as well.
You could tell. One of the things I loved from the behind the scenes interviews for this show is Kurt Russell was like, for the longest time since I was a kid, one of the most iconic memories I have is watching a Godzilla film. So he's like, so when my agent approached me about doing this, I was like, say no more, I'm in, So it's one of those scenes where clearly if he had that feeling, that love towards Godzilla, I'm sure he probably shared that with his son Wyatt when they were young, and I think for them, this is just like a kick-ass experience. I think they're just loving that they get to share this kind of experience together, which is great. It's wonderful.
This Shaw character is going to become quickly loved. I hope this is not the end of us seeing, Wyatt Earp in the Godzilla universe.
Hi, Russell. Yeah, well, for Godzilla MonsterVerse fans, it was a big deal because the first time Lee Shaw appeared was Godzilla Awakening, the prequel comic to the 2014 film. So it was pretty exciting to know that they were going to bring that character, and he has the same mission, which they haven't retconned yet. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it, because technically the person that Lee Shaw is escorting around in this book is Ishiro Serizawa's father. So maybe Serizawa, the son, will pop up, or maybe even Ishiro's father will show up in their flashbacks at some point. But yeah, it's actually Serizawa who he's escorting around on these Monarch missions to investigate the Titans. Not Bill Randa and his wife. But yeah, man, a great start to the Monarch Legacy of Monsters show. I'm digging what they're putting down, what they're making, the mystery behind it. I can't wait for episode 3. So make sure you guys set your reminders for our watch party that we're going to do on Tuesday. I believe it's 10 p.m. Eastern, but based off how they released it last time, I think it'll be available 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't know. I hope they don't switch it up. There still seems to be a little bit of confusion of what Apple TV is, when they're releasing things and when they're not. But I don't know. We'll go for it nonetheless. But guys, to kind of wrap up a little bit, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, is it living up to your expectations so far, to the hype? Like, what would you score maybe the first 2 episodes?
For me, definitely, I think I like the first one a little bit better, so I give it a 9. And the second one, not too far off. I'd give it an 8 just because I want a little bit more monster action, but definitely invested in these characters, what they're going to discover, the revelations. I love all mysteries and intrigue and layering it with stuff from our real world and talking about trauma and how to get over trauma, and what you mentioned, Trey, about Godzilla's real life implications in our world. I think it's a very timely tale and something that needs to be told, and it's going to be awesome to enjoy it while seeing some chaos in the MONSTERVERSE. So I'm excited.
I like it. I like it. Orc and Beans.
Yeah, I'm actually a little flipped from Josh. I would say 8.5 for the first episode, 9 for the second episode. And my bold prediction is that we get to see the big man in the newer timeline, episode 4. I think we're going to spend a lot of time in Alaska in episode 3, and I think they're going to kind of hint to the big man showing up. And then I think we're going to see him episode 4, possibly fighting, people have been talking about this new ice monster. Because I don't think they're going to leave Alaska all in one episode. I think it's going to be a couple of episodes that they're there. And I think the big man's going to come save the day in episode 4. So that's my bold prediction.
Okay. I like that. That's cool. Super Bro Corey, your thoughts?
Man, this is a tough score for me for sure, because I liked them both. Probably very, they were both equally very good for different reasons. One, I loved that we saw John Goodman. The setup, that whole Japan arriving scene and everything like that was just absolutely fantastic. I loved that. The Godzilla flashbacks was fantastic. But then in episode 2, you get, a lot more in depth with, Randa and Shaw, and, we get a little bit of Kurt Russell as well. So, man, they're both, high up there. Obviously, I think in any, kaiju type storyline or movie or show, you're going to want more kaijus in it. But I think that's also what makes the kaiju so special as well, that we get a little taste here and there, and it's not just like kaiju the entire time. I'm really just loving the human interaction, and I'm actually extremely excited for the show. It's given me, like Trey mentioned, Walking Dead vibes, where I can't wait for it to be, Sunday night again. Now I can't wait for it to be Tuesday night again, or, I'm ready for the next show. So I'm actually going to score this probably pretty high than what Trey. I might surprise Trey. I'm going to say 9.3 for both of them.
9.3 for both.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so damn. Corey, I'm a little surprised by that.
I told you. I'm super pumped for the show, man. This is getting me super into Godzilla, but even more so, it's gearing up for all Godzilla content that we're going to be doing on the stream. So I'm getting super excited about that. So I might be living off in little kaiju fairyland. I have no clue. I'm in the cloud 9 right now.
You might be Team Godzilla.
Exactly. I don't know about that, but I'm still Team Calm. But I would say that I am digging the dynamics already for sure. I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan, so I'm enjoying every aspect of this show so far. So, yeah, 9-3s seemed fair, and I can't wait for Godzilla -1 now. Like, just there's so many aspects of this. Like Trey's always saying, it's a damn good time to be a Godzilla fan.
You already know it is. Damn, Corey, I'm surprised you gave it such a high score.
Yeah.
The first step, I definitely liked the first episode more because
awesome.
to me they played into the trauma a little more with I think just with what makes like a Godzilla theme a bit, like going back to that original 1954, the tragedy of that and the horrors of it. So the first episode, it hit me in all the feels. The revelation of what happens on the San Francisco bus, the trauma, the mother was just like some of the most like meaningful moments I've ever seen in the MONSTERVERSE so far. So I think I'm going to give the first episode a 9-1. And then episode 2, just a little bit. It's intriguing me. When they showed, Kurt Russell and, is coming in at Leisha, I knew, I was like, dude, I already love the way he's playing this. Wyatt Russell's kicking ass too. It's just like, I just like the dude. The dude is playing a character that I'm just like, I have a feeling that I just going to enjoy every time you're on screen because you're just obnoxiously like, I don't know, he's not arrogant in a way, but kind of just no nonsense, and I always love those no nonsense characters. They say it how they see it. And I think you always know about where you stand with them. But maybe we'll find out differently in episode 3. Maybe he has some secrets of his own. I don't know. So I'm going to give an 8 on episode 2. So 9-1, 8-8 on episode 2.
Yeah, my biggest struggle was like, what could I possibly have wanted more in these first 2 jam-packed episodes? Like it was like they're doing just such a great job of and typically I hate this, which is funny. I typically hate the back and forth hopping around timelines, but they've done such a good job with it, probably better than a lot of that other shows and movies that I've seen, that like I'm just like I'm hooked.
I like it. That's good. You need quality, which a lot of people like. Why to see that this spinoff here with Godzilla is kind of their first attempt with Monarch, the MONSTERVERSE, to really expand it. I like what they're doing. I think we're getting some good quality stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to give a round of applause to like everybody who watched it, like our chat, everybody here today, all of us, like what if I saw correctly, Trey, Legacy of Monsters is number 1 on Apple TV right now.
Yes. Last I saw it was number 1. I don't know if it is today, but I mean, Apple TV has some good shows.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso is always a successful show, even after it came out, a year later, and people are still watching that show quite frequently. So the fact that Monarch took the number 1 lead is exciting for the Godzilla community, because I definitely think, guys, if you want more MONSTERVERSE Godzilla content, you need to show up. Apple TV does have a 7-day trial that you can do. If you have a friend that has Apple TV Plus, they can send you like a subscription offer that gives you, I think, a month free. Isn't that what Kojay said, Corey?
No, he got 3 months. So
he got 3 months.
Yeah, there's some of that. If you have a Roku and you've never signed up for Apple TV before, I know my Roku is like, oh, you get a 3-month free trial with it. So that's what I did. So it's like Apple TV is clearly investing in its platform, investing in its shows, and it looks like they're trying to do some things, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I did have a poll that we started at the beginning of the show. Did the season opener live up to the hype? And 93% of you out of 33 votes said
Nice.
yes, can't wait for episode 3. 6% said don't have Apple TV. What are you doing with your life?
Well, now they know. 7-day free trial. Let's go.
7-day free trial, or find a friend who has Apple TV Plus to send you an offer. I forget how it works. I saw it on Apple TV that like a friend can send you a link to get like 3 months free, something like that. So do it.
You could wait to the end to do a quick burn of all of them, but then you wouldn't be able to experience these shows with us the way you should be.
Unless if you don't mind spoilers, you know. And then 0% said no. Like, so that's fantastic, guys. I'm glad. And no one's saying meh, depends on the rest of the show. So an overwhelming 93% positive. You guys can't wait for episode 3. So that is awesome.
And to build off on that, Trey, they really enjoyed the first 2 as well. The Emancipator gave it an average of 8.2 out of 10 around.
Nice.
Kaiju Crazy Craig Rowland gave it an episode 1 at 8.8 and episode 2 8.5. Gianmarco gave it a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8. King Donkey Kong gave it an 8.6 for episode 1. And a 9 of episode 2, 8.7 from Wayne Enterprises, 8.7 all around, 9.1 from Mistress of Mayhem. Episode 2 was an 8.5, 8.8 from Trevor H. Red Hood Outlaw gave it. I loved both. I think it's high 8s for me for both. Oracle's Clock Tower gave it a 9.2 and an 8.9. Beyond the Night gave it a 9.1 and an 8.8. 9 across the boards. Carrie Kelly gave it an 8.3, episode 1, 8.5, episode 2. 9 Lives in Hell here said needed some more kaijus for me, 8.2 for each. I know Corey wants some more Kong. Absolutely. But I think it's very interesting, like even in the chat as well. You know, some of the chat liked episode 2 better. Some of the chat liked episode 1 better. And some people were just like, man, these are both fantastic episodes straight across the board. So kind of like the panel was today. So it was a cool representation of that.
Did anyone say anything below an 8, or was it all 8s and up?
It was all 8s, and the majority were high 8s for the most part.
And you know,
Gianmarco 7.10, maybe 8.
Maybe 8. So he's kind of in that realm too. So I agree with that. I think at least it's quality entertainment. It should be above a 7 for your story. If you have below a 7, I'm kind of questioning if you like the MonsterVerse or if this is your type of content. But I'm glad to see everyone seems to be enjoying it and is at least intrigued for episode 3, you know.
So that said, if you are part of the replay crew, make sure you guys rate it as well. And if you do give it a 7 or underneath an 8, definitely, and even if you give it higher than 8, make sure you leave your comment on why you scored it the way you did.
Yeah. What were we going to say, Orc?
The only issue that the show may have is, you know, besides Corey, the people that are going to watch this show are people that are fans of Godzilla. And so I think it may have a hard time bringing in new fans. You know, yes, Wayne Enterprise, the issue is with Corey at all times. You know, Corey probably wouldn't have watched this show if it wasn't for us. And
there's truth to that.
I don't know if it's going to really bring in new fans, but I think it's a show for fans.
But I think they could build off of what you said there, Cody. You know, what better of a way to invite new fans to this universe than do what you guys did for me, which is, you know, tell me about the show. We do watch parties. Bring people to our next watch party. You know, let's build this community. Let's build these, you know, new kaiju loving, you know, freakomanias, whatever, Monarch Monsters, whatever we want to call them. And like myself, you know, I'm pumped. I'm getting really excited. Seeing Trey's excitement, hearing your excitement, Cody, hearing Josh's excitement, you know, like I want to just keep rolling. Let's keep talking about Monarch. Let's keep building off of this. Like, I can't wait until we do some of the old Godzilla movie watch parties and such like that, which are probably coming right around the corner here. So I'm excited. Like, this is, you guys have me hooked. You landed the hook, line, and sinker, and I'm going with you guys now. Let's roll.
And now we
Yeah,
just
I
need
showed-
the show to play the fish, you know.
I showed my mom. I took my mom to see Godzilla versus Kong. I think I mentioned to you guys,
Nice.
and we talked
Oh, yeah.
about it. And so I talked. She was staying with me last weekend, and I told her about the show. And I told her, I was like, yeah, Kurt Russell's, that was the person that she's gonna know in the show. So I was like, yeah, his son's in it. And then I showed her, and she's like, really? What does he look like? I showed her a picture, and she's like, oh, he looks like Goldie Hawn. And so she's like, okay, I like it. So I'm getting my mom slowly. I'm like sprinkling the breadcrumbs. I'm like, come over, mom, come over, mom. So I might get her to check it out and build the university or build this community even more. So do it that way. If you have a sibling, a parent who might know an actress, hey, the Snyder Cut actress Iris West is in it. You're like, spread the word.
Yeah.
I like it. That's the way to do it. You
And
spread the word.
everyone needs to go see -1. If it does well in America, I feel like we can start to get more of this growing because like I plan on seeing it multiple times already. I got, I'm taking my wife with me to the special early edition on the 29th. I'm probably gonna go see it with some work friends and stuff like that as well. So definitely I feel like if we can make Godzilla -1 a huge hit in America, then we're gonna get to see some more Godzilla content.
I agree. And Shin Godzilla was very successful back in 2016 when they released it in US theaters. If we could blow Godzilla -1 up even more to make it a new record for Toho, this is all a good sign for God. Like we've talked about this on our Godzilla Day celebration stream. What an incredible time it is to be a Godzilla fan. We're getting so much content that it's weird. I just remember being a kid. Mom would take us to Blockbuster. Hey, kids, you each get to pick out one film. I was always the only person in the Godzilla section. And I remember it became so legendary to the guy who ran the Blockbuster that he would always say, like, another one. He's just like, well, I got this one for you this week. I was like the only one that ever checked out his Godzilla films, and I would check him out constantly. Like, he's like, dude, you already watched this one 3 times. Cool. Yeah, I'm renting it again. It was just the way it was. And it was like when I was in school, elementary school, I was like the only kid that was a guy. Everyone knew about Godzilla, the dinosaur thing that destroys the city. But it was like you were kind of weird, kind of like, what? All right, like you like Godzilla? Like, no, I love Godzilla.
You see my clay puppy?
You see my boys back here, it's just one of the scenes. Nowadays, like Godzilla, when that teaser trailer popped for Godzilla X Kong, that like the internet blew up, and it was like weird to me. I was like, huh? This is crazy. I hope we ride this train right as long as possible, because as we see with Marvel, as we see eventually with DC, and like really Star Wars, you name it, at some point your IP is going to lose that hype. It's going to lose that train. It's going to lose steam. So enjoy it while it lasts, because this is a damn good time to be a Godzilla fan. And let's show up. Let's support it. If it's good or bad, let's still like go see it, and we'll give our thoughts on it. We'll be honest. We'll tell people if Godzilla -1 is truly a masterpiece, like people are saying. I think it will be. We'll be honest with Monarch Legacy of Monsters, if whether they hit the nail or not. So far they're doing a great job, and I can't wait for episode 3. So
Show mom what you found.
What's that?
Show mom what you found.
Oh yeah,
Show mom what I found.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Mom, you probably remember this when I made it.
But look, she says I'm intrigued now because all of you are so excited about it.
Because Kurt Russell's a bonus. I knew Mom would be like, yeah. See, all the older, I didn't say that, because the women are all interested in Kurt Russell. I did not say older. I'm so sorry, Mom.
Dang.
I love you.
He called you old, Mom.
No, Mom, I did.
He said you're old.
I meant mature
all the
women. Mature women all love Kurt Russell.
Mature? You said mature now? Oh man. Dang. I love you, Mom.
As we start to wrap up, Josh, what do you have going on over at your channel, and or what's going on for the holidays for you?
Just hanging out with you guys. I don't have a channel or anything really. And I do, but I don't really use it too much. I wanted to give you guys a shout out actually. I wasn't able to make it to Godzilla Day because I had some stuff come up before my AFSP Out of the Darkness walk. I wanted to thank you and Super Bro Corey Trey for your donations in my campaign for walking for my brother, my stepbrother Chaz White, and the AFSP Out of the Darkness walk here in Austin, Texas. So I really appreciate you guys contributing to AFSP and my campaign with me and my sisters. We were able to raise $400 for suicide prevention. So I'm sorry I didn't make it to Godzilla Day with you guys. I'll watch it back, but I'm really grateful and appreciate all the work that y'all do for the community, the YouTube space, everyone who's a fan of just pop culture and nerdy stuff and all kinds of things. Y'all cover so much, and I'm just grateful to hang out with you guys, talk about this exciting stuff that we have coming in the future. And thanks for having me as always. Thanks to everyone in the chat too.
Man, Josh, first off, is always a pleasure having you on, man, and thank you for continuing the building, the fight, the building awareness around the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I know it's a very personal and close thing to you, dude. That we were just able to do the little that we could for it is awesome. And guys, we always say this: if you know anything about our channels, if this is your first time hanging out with us, for our Godzilla fans out there who aren't used to the Bat Channel, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is something that we're very passionate about. We care. We really try to do our best of what we can. And I know, especially during the holidays, that sometimes that can be the roughest time. And I would just encourage you, if you can donate to AFSP, we always have a link in our description of every video we do. If you can donate something, you're amazing. You're absolutely wonderful. But if you can't, because I know times are tough, easily the most equal next best thing you could do is to check on a friend, family, just let them know how you're doing. Even the ones you think that are strong, they're tough, just say, hey, how you doing? And maybe spread awareness about AFSP to your friends. Like, hey man, there's American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Go talk about this, go help if you can. Spreading the word is just as helpful and meaningful as actually being able to put in some funds to that organization, because they're doing some great work over there, especially for those who need to hear it. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can do to someone is just say, hello, how are you? So Josh, the fact that you're continuing that fight, my man, thank you so much. It was seriously our pleasure to do something as little as we did. You're the one out there actually doing the hard work, so we appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything. And guys, give my boy Josh a follow on Twitter, YouTube. You know what to do, Corey. I think we have Josh's link somewhere, right?
Yep. We got it out there. So yep, on there. So yeah, no, it's an absolute honor, Josh, to support you, your family, and American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Just amazing what you have always done for AFSP as well. So appreciate your brother, and man, sorry for your loss. And yeah, I'm like Trey said, go help out AFSP, go use AFSP if you need it, and go reach out to a loved one, or not a loved one, just tell somebody you love them. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great job on the walk, buddy. I'm glad everything went well for that.
Glad it went well, man. That's
Thank
awesome.
Yeah.
My man, Orchid Beads, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. He's back on Twitch, rocking it. I enjoyed watching you on Modern Warfare the other day.
Yes,
brought back some memories.
Yes, thank you to everyone that came out for my birthday stream last week. I'm trying to get back in the Twitch game a little bit. I've been trying to stream at least once a week. But with holidays, it gets a little hard. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitch at OrchidBeans14. You can follow me on Twitter at OrchidBeans14, where I post a lot of times when I'm streaming, but also talk about soccer. Go Wolves! So if you like that kind of stuff, please feel free to follow me. And
soccer? Did you just say you're talking about soccer?
Yeah, I talk
Like
about
what kind of
soccer.
soccer? Like what? Like are we talking like the
We're
the
talking about
World Soccer League, or are we talking
We're
like?
Premier League. My team's the Wolves.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on. Keep going. Got the scarf, everything.
Wow.
I'm a big Wolves guy. So,
So is that a Chicago team, or like
no, this is in
they?
England. So Chicago has the Chicago Fire. They play in the MLS league.
Yeah.
Then there's the Premier League, which is out in like England and stuff like that. So it's the Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Okay.
Nice.
Do
That's
they
my. What's that?
would they do like the Real teams, or like what would Real Madrid, or like?
No, we're talking like Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. Those teams.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah, we're doing pretty good. Yes. See, Emancipator's talking about it. Yes. That's a shame that you're an Arsenal fan. It's okay. I feel for your loss. But yeah, if you want to talk about soccer or just watch me play some video games and stuff like that, please follow me on all my social medias.
Nice.
Do it, man. I when you started talking about that on your streamers, and I was like, is he talking about football, like college teams, like what is he like?
It's the greatest sport in the world.
Curling. Curling. People swing at rocks and sweeps, man.
Soccer is the greatest sport in the world. Last weekend was another example of it when we defeated the Spurs in beautiful fashion in the last extra time minutes. So, yeah, it's a good thing that my wife is busy on the weekends, because a lot of times it's just me at 6:30 in the morning screaming about soccer.
Dang, yeah, I'm a hockey guy, so like I appreciate soccer, but I don't really watch it like that much. But it's a pretty awesome logo that you got there. The Wolves.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. Yeah, and I've made it really easy for Rachel to buy me gifts. She's just buying me all sorts of Wolves gear. I have a Wolves kit too that I wear around on Saturdays and stuff like that. I try to wear as much Wolves gear as I possibly can. I'm hoping for Christmas I get some sweatpants and some socks. So
it has a very Batman vibe to it, buddy.
It is kind of a Batman-y vibe.
Black and yellow.
Yeah, and it's been a really fun season for us, because we were projected to not be great. And the best thing about soccer, in the Premier League and stuff like that, if your team sucks, they get kicked out of the league.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You would know this if you watched Ted Lasso.
Yeah. And
I
so there was some real fear that the Wolves were going to get relegated this season. Our manager,
what happens to a team that gets kicked out? Like, can they ever get back in?
Yeah, so you get shoved down to the league below you, and then the top 3 teams of the league below you, they get put up into the Premier League. And so there was some real fear that the Wolves were going to get kicked out this season, but we're killing it. Our manager quit on us 3 days before the season start, but our new manager, and Gary O'Neill, we trust.
Dang, look at you.
It's been such a fun season.
Let me ask you, do they come out to theme songs? Are they like, oh, dun, dun, dun,
no,
dun,
but that's one of the things is, the fans are super into it. There's all sorts of chants and stuff like that. You can actually get fined for what your fans say if they're a little too rowdy.
I would be kicked out of the league, bro. They dropping me out quickly.
Our head of football actually got suspended for a game because he got into an argument with a ref after the game.
What?
So it's a really, really awesome fun time to get into soccer.
So when do I watch? When do I watch? Like when? So
you can you can watch the Premier League on Peacock. It's usually early Saturday, Sunday mornings. They're on international break, so there wasn't any soccer this weekend. But I think the Wolves play Monday at 2 p.m. next weekend against Fulham, which we should win.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Super Bat Mom asks, who is the 3-time virtual curling champion of the world? Any guesses?
It was 5 times, Mom. 5 times.
Oh, 5 times, Bob. This
Get it
man loves his curly.
No, they unfortunately they canceled that app. So I think they're like, we gotta stop. This guy just like keeps obliterating people. Man, but yeah, had no idea Orc was into soccer, but it's exciting to see. I feel, is it, out of curiosity, why? Was it Ted Lasso?
So it was partly Ted Lasso, and also one of the things about me is my favorite hobby is finding new hobbies. And so I randomly decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a soccer guy. I knew I wanted to watch in the Premier League. And so then I literally just Googled Premier League teams based on number of fans, because I didn't want to just, be a bandwagon fan. And so Wolves were like mid-tier. I went and checked their standings for the year. They were mid-tier. And so I was like, cool, I'm going to pick this mid-tier team. And then it has absolutely engulfed my life.
Really?
So since then, because you are a fan of this team, they've improved.
Honestly,
you have a winning record with this team.
So far, yes. We've been performing well above what they were expected to, and I partly think it's because of my support. But sometimes it's hard to get up at 6:30 in the morning to watch.
What's a dirty team? Like what's a team that like nobody really likes, but they win, and they
full of
the biggest thing is Man City. I absolutely hate Man City.
Oh, everyone hates Man City.
Man City is like the best team in the world right now.
I feel like I'm going to go Man City.
Well, here's the thing.
They play dirty.
They came in and they tried to play the Wolves, and we swamped them. Absolutely crushed them. We weren't supposed to lose. Exactly, Butler. Fuck Man City. My boy Hwang Hee-chan fell down, and they tried pushing him off the pitch. Hate Man City.
What's their mascot?
Who fucking cares? No one cares. The Man City is a bunch of losers, but they're so good, and it's annoying how good they are. But they're also one of the richest teams, so they can just buy whoever they want. They actually bought a player from us because he was a little crybaby, and anytime he touched, when they bought a player from us, and then they played us at home, and anytime he touched the ball, the entire crowd just booed him. And then when he would pass, they would all start to chant that he's a wanker. It was amazing. It was such a wonderful night to get to watch us beat Man City, because we gave them their first loss of the year. And there was a real talk that we didn't think they were going to lose to anybody this season. But yeah, Man City sucks.
I'm going to have to find a team. Oh,
that
looks interesting.
Chelsea is like the biggest team for like Americans. Everyone kind of likes Chelsea in America. I don't know. And so a lot of times their games get pushed off to YouTube TV because a lot of Americans like Chelsea. A buddy that I watch soccer with on the weekends, he's a Chelsea fan.
Do they play the Chelsea Dagger?
Chelsea Dagger.
Our Chicago boys coming out.
When did this become a soccer stream?
Hey, we went there. Alrighty then. I'm gonna have to look into it. You were the one who mentioned it. Actually.
We should do some soccer watch parties on early Saturday mornings before our Monarch Monstar streams and stuff like that. And
all right,
I can explain some of the rules to you, because I'm also still trying to learn.
I watched Ted Lasso and I still don't understand the rules.
Anytime one of my players falls down, I yell foul, and I think that's how it's basically supposed to go. You just yell whenever your players go down.
I just like Roy Kent,
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just print a red card. Oh, interesting. People are saying, let's see, where is it? Thank you, Oracle Clock Tower. Don't forget to hit that like for my favorite crew.
It could be a Liverpool fan.
Corey's personality suits with Liverpool. I'm curious to hear Butler's and everybody else who watches this. Am I a Liverpool fan?
Liverpool. The first time I ever played FIFA, I actually played as Liverpool. I picked them as my team. They're a pretty good team.
Oh, they're red. I like that.
Yeah, they're red. I don't really hate anything about Liverpool. They actually possibly want to buy one of our players, which I would kind of be okay
What
with. If
type
they
of
took
buy?
him.
Like you have to buy
That's
players?
the thing. So you buy players from other teams. There's these transfer windows where you can basically just buy other players, and teams will, try to make some cash and sell.
That sounds about
We
right.
had sold we sold our captain over the first transfer window of the year because we really needed money desperately. And we sold him off to, and it's not even just selling it to other Premier League teams. You can sell him to the MLS. You can, a lot of players are going to play in the Saudi Arabia League. That's where we send Ruben. We had sent him over there.
Let me ask you this: is there any Swedish team?
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's some sort of league in Sweden and stuff like that.
In the Premier League club, though, is there a Sweden team from?
No, it's Premier League, just England and stuff like that. That has a bunch of teams.
Okay.
Well, there you go. You got Corey now hooked on soccer. So,
and it is very. You will. Once you find your team, and the way I describe watching soccer is it's like a roller coaster, but it's also the most like butt clenching sport you'll ever watch, because when you it'll be kind of in like a lull, they're passing around, and then just a shot takes off and you just clench your butt and it's the most maddening sport. It's so much fun though.
Should I be offended by this comment? I could see.
So there's Manchester City and there's Manchester United. United's not as bad. But
he's meaning Manchester City. Man City.
If it's Man City, we can't be friends, Corey. I know you've been my cousin my entire life, but it would end that day.
I'm really kind of thinking Man City's the team then.
No, Man City. Fuck Man City. I hate them so much.
You're gonna have to change your name to Soccer Bro, Corey.
Yeah,
Soccer Bro, Corey. Yeah.
Jesus. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, just want to say once again.
We went on a tangent. Wow.
I was gonna say, you can't get mad at me on this one, Orc.
No,
I kept it the show is gonna end around an hour 45, and then soccer took off. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us in our crazy panel. It's always seriously one of the best parts of the weekend where I get to hang out with these guys and hang out with you in the chat to talk about the things we love, whether it's about the topic that we're doing or something completely different. It's just what makes this group so freaking amazing. And I enjoy it so much, guys. Thank you so much. Please check out my boy Orkin Beans 14 on Twitch. Check out Josh's social media pages so that way you can follow him. Check out what he's doing with AFSP. And when he jumps on, he's all around on YouTube. So make sure you keep an eye out for the next time when he pops up. And don't forget, Tuesday, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I gotta be careful. Every time I say Monarch, I'm about to say Monarch Monsters because it just rolls off the tongue. Monarch Legacy of Monsters, episode 3, Secrets and Lies, coming out. We hope to see you guys there for our watch party. It's gonna be a damn good time, and we're just gonna continue this hype train all the way through. So, guys, thank you so much. Make sure to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our episodes. Replay crew, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm your host, Trey, with Super Bro Corey and Orchid Beans, and my boy Josh. And don't forget to tune in weekly.
Same bat time.
Same bat channel. See you later, guys.
Which one are we playing to get out, Trey? I see you added some.
I did add some things, which our sponsors would probably be very mad at me for doing this, Corey. Our sponsors, we have sponsors today for this show. We're supposed to put out these PSAs, public service announcements. So we'll leave you off with this, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And now, please, a message from our sponsors.
And now a special message brought to you by the Titan Preparedness Plan.
With the recent spike in Titan sightings circulating on social media, proactive preparation for a Titan emergence event is crucial. A single towering force of nature has the potential to forever alter the lives of millions. It is our mission to help you prepare for that force. The Titan Preparedness Plan is your guide to staying safe in the face of monsters. These are the 3 steps you need to know. 1. Know before you go. Identify the location of your nearest Titan shelter and practice navigating a Titan evacuation route with your family on a weekly basis. 2. Run and take cover. In the case of a Titan emergence, calmly sprint to the nearest Titan shelter. If your designated shelter is inaccessible or at capacity, seek the basement or lowest floor of a nearby building. 3. Stay informed. Follow any further instruction from local authorities and stay informed using your mobile device, television, or radio. We can't stop a Titan emergence, but we can safeguard our lives. Join us in building a safer, more resilient community. We are here to protect you.